Okay. It's going, no. Okay,
Everybody's here.
thank you
How's it
for
going?
coming to the meeting. Tonight's agenda, we're gonna go do the public hearing for the budget, then for the local law, then our regular meeting. So, let's get started. All right, I did the slides a little bit differently this time. I wanted to show a history, so we've got from 2021 to now, just to show that it's gone, we're kind of back to where we typically were to start with. Remember, we dropped the amount quite a bit to help with the EMS cost, and so we slowly came back up to now we're back to 64 cents per thousand. Significant thing here is we're not using any of our savings, our unallocated funds. So in the past, like last year, we used, in general fund, we used over $41,000 out of savings to offset costs for general fund, and we're not taking anything out of savings right now. So our rental real property is up $7,000 with the addition of the Brookfield battery storage. Fines and bails are way down, down $5,000. The assessor contract, the JCEO contract, and the dog shelter contracts combined were up $12,000. All of our minimum wage hourly workers are going to be up due to a 50% increase in 2025 for minimum wage up to $15.50. None of the elected officials got wage increases, and actually the pay for the secretary position is down $3,000. And the biggest thing, we don't have any more bond payment on the dam at this time. So that's the general fund. Does anyone have any questions or whatnot from our massive public that attended? If you have no questions, we'll go to, and that was part A, which everybody in the town pays, including the half of the village that falls into the town. General fund, the B fund, is for just the part of the town outside the village. So we have a few things that fall under that. Pause for effect. Okay, so that's down 3 cents per thousand. And we didn't use fund balance for this either. And we did have an addition of our short-term rental fees. What we did, we actually put in another $4,000 for that, for however many short-term rental permits and inspections that are done. We figure 4,000 coming in, and as our code enforcement officer does those, then he would be reimbursed. So for the increase of work, he'll be paid for however much work it increases. If he only has 2 that can come and get permits, then he only gets paid for 2. If he has 20, then he'll get paid for 20. So it's a pay-for-play kind of situation with the short-term rental permits in this first year, because we really don't know how that's going to all shake out. The things that fall under Part B are things like the code enforcement officer, because the village has their own youth programs, library, we pay a piece of that. So those kinds of things. Any questions on any of that? Okay. Next one is Highway Fund. Highway Fund is actually going to go down to 307. Significant changes here. Again, we're not going to use any of the unallocated funds. Our CHIPS amount is going up 10,000. Insurance is up across the board. In highway, 12,000 increase on, and that's insurance, our real property type insurance, because we have all the new vehicles and that kind of thing, plus insurance increased. Our increase in pay for the union workers on the contract on the 1st of January, it's a total of 4,000 total for the year. And so of course when that goes up, all those other things like retirement, Social Security, workman's comp, those all go up because they follow what you get paid. And those three, General A, General B, and Highway, are all the things that we, the board, can control. Okay, any questions? All right. Line Mountain Lights for the Hamlet residents only, and these are based on the NYSEG bills. You'll see it's been pretty, ever since we switched to LED lights, it's stayed pretty steady. So 78 cents per thousand, which is a big drop from back in 21 when we were paying $1.85 per thousand. So that's still 78 per thousand. Chateauguay Lake Water District, and this is based on the contract that Belmont sends us, and that went down this year. So that's 16 cents per thousand. Any questions? Stop me if you have questions. All right, fire districts, fire protection. So the Line Mountain Fire District, they are going up 7 cents. As you know, everything is going up. A lot of this is for training, for increases in insurances, and of course equipment costs go up. So that's a relatively small increase for $1.12 per thousand. The Dannemora Fire Department, the district they cover, that's again with our contract with the village, and that went down 4 cents per thousand to $1.25 per thousand. Any questions, comments? All right, EMS, the village contract, again, they increased 38 cents per thousand, and that is a large part of that is that their retirement, workman's comp, liability, all increased 16% for them. Insurance went up significantly for them because of a lot of new things for them. There's a cancer part of their insurance, and just general insurance on vehicles, on property, that kind of thing, that went up. So, and we're still working on smoothing things out for them. And if anyone was curious as to what we previously, our contract amounts in the past were, Dannemora, we're back up to what we were back in 2021. Basically, it was $1.62 back then, and I'm not sure what they did in 23 to make it only 60 cents per thousand. I think they forgot part of their budget at that point, but we're back up to $1.68, which again is in a good area. So, any questions? Anyone? Okay. So the non-tax items in the budget for the sewer district, the O&M rents for the sewer district went down $1 to $5.02, but the debt service went up $3 to $195. So there's a net of a $2 increase. So if you have just your one unit in your house, it's gonna be $697 instead of $695, like it was last year. Vacant lots would be $195, and if you have a full unit plus like the second half of a house or a vacant lot, then that's the $892. Just to, what we discovered when looking at our debt, the bond paperwork on this, is that from now until it's paid, that particular bond is paid off, it increases every year. The payment increases every year by anywhere between $100, $200 for some reason. I'm not sure why it was done that way, but so there'll be a small increase in the debt service every year until that one's paid off.
When's that going to be paid off, Debbie?
That one I think is 2035,
Oh,
and of course there's going to be the new bond next year. But
okay.
and Dannemora Sewer O&M plus the debt is the same as last year, $400. Water districts. Line Mountain Water, we're increasing that a little bit, and we're going to try to get some funding from the state. We've been talking with Patrick about SCADA system for that water district, which basically computerizes a lot of it, and it will also call out if there's something wrong, if they notice a big drop in water, that kind of thing. It'll actually notify somebody for it. And we need to be cognizant of someday when Pat's not doing the water district, the next person might not be so mechanically inclined as him to be able to fix a lot of the little twerks that go off. So the SCADA system will supplement that quite a bit. The SCADA system will tell them what's wrong on this part, what's wrong here, what's wrong there. So it's really a very valuable system, especially as when Patrick leaves, and if we get somebody who is computer smart but can't fix a switch or whatnot. So Dannemora Water, there's no change from last year. Ledger's Water is a big increase. As a relatively new district, there's no savings. There was a little bit, but we had 2 water main leaks in that district, and 2 properties came off the district. So we only have 28 properties now on that line. So it's increased to $721 a year. As if we get more people on it, of course it'll go down. And the state still pays 15 of those. So. Okay, so bottom line in the budget. In the budget lines the board controls, our per thousand rate is down 2 cents. In the budget lines that we can't control, our per thousand rate's up 41 cents. So Line Mountain Fire was up only 7 cents, Dannemora Fire was down 4 cents, and EMS was up 38 cents. So I think we did a relatively good turnaround for budget. So does anyone have any questions on the budget?
Do you have a budget for this coming year for EMS? Is there anything yet?
Yeah,
Contract, you have a contract
yeah,
at all?
yeah, we did, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If nobody has any questions on budget. Okay, so the next public hearing is to pass local law 2 to override the tax cap. So, contrary to what some people think, nothing happens if you go over your tax cap. And I've researched this because we are going to go over our tax cap. This year the tax cap is 1%. Inflation is how many percents? Plus minimum wage went up, everything else. So if everything in our budget stayed exactly the same and didn't go up, just increasing the wages that are either the guys in the highway or minimum wage would put us over our tax cap, because 1% is not much. So nothing happens. I verified it with both Mike Zerlo at the county and the comptroller's office, that the tax cap is there just to keep in check those towns that habitually way over budget, and the taxes keep increasing, but it does not give you a black eye. It does not stop you from getting any discounts or anything that the state gives or whatever, any sales tax revenue. Nothing changes. It's just to basically check those towns that have been kind of a runaway with their taxes. So what the override, the law does, is it allows the government to increase the tax levy by that 1.0002%, and by more than that of cap. So what part is the tax levy? So the tax levy is the part of the town's income that comes directly from taxpayers. So the levy was very low last year because we supplemented the income with savings to keep it below the tax cap, due to it being very low the year before, when we lowered general fund to 24 cents to help those in the EMS district in Lime Mountain to kind of balance out their taxes. So, for example, our tax last year, our budget was $1.9 million for the whole town. The amount that was levied to the taxpayers was $900,000. So we got that other million from various places, from income from sand sales, from state sales tax revenue, from various places. So what we did was artificially keep our tax levy low. So we need to play catch up, and as you can see, our budget is still low, but we're not taking anything out of savings to supplement, and so our tax levy, we're going to be over that 1% that they cap us at. And so, and why are we doing that? Not taking anything for savings? Well, first of all, like I said, our goal is to make it so that we don't find it necessary to artificially lower our tax levy. And we want to garner enough of our savings to ensure that we can offset the loss of revenue from sand sales. Because if you go down to like 5 lines from the bottom where it says ore sand sales, and we have $400,000 there, well, next year that contract ends after next summer, and the general consensus that I've heard from people across the town is to quit selling that sand, so that our next generations don't have to buy sand when we have this big. It's not such a big pile anymore, as people that can attest to. And right now, I know some of that is digging into some of the hard stuff, so we need to conserve the sand that we have. So if you take away that $400,000, instead of our tax levy being 64 cents or per thousand, it's more like $2.50 per thousand. So we have savings. We have around $2 million in savings in general fund. And we want to make sure we have something there so we can supplement in the years that we don't have the ore sand sales, as we continue to look for other sources of income for the town. So there are some feelers out there for other ways to bring money into the town, but in the short term, we do have that savings. So that's why we don't want to pull anything out of savings, so that we're not hurting ourselves 2 years from now. Any questions on that? Okay, so as I said, that's why we're not taking anything out of savings, and we will be busting the tax cap of 1.00002%, which is ridiculous. Are there any questions about the budget or tax cap? Okay. All right. So that concludes the public hearing portion of our show. Let me show